Welcome back. Today on Dialed In DIY, I'm like a kid in a candy store because I've got a new tool to work with. Yes, thanks to the amazing generosity of some awesome friends, I am having the wonderful opportunity to unbox, set up, and begin using a brand new 3D printer. So sit back as I crack open the box and pull all the parts out for this Flashforge printer, which is actually really amazing because it's pretty much ready to use right out of the box. A couple little tweaks, couple little things to put in place, and you're ready to go. First things first, everything's packaged really well and secure inside of the box. So I'm going to take a quick inventory of all the parts, take a look at the manual, and get ready to set it up, but make sure that I do everything right, even though I don't necessarily follow the order of events as laid out in the quick start guide. But still, everything worked out great, and I do get this thing fired up and running pretty quick. So that's it for the unboxing. It's actually really pretty simple and straightforward, which makes it a prime opportunity to move ahead with getting this thing put together and see what it's going to take to make it work. I'm going to go ahead and be honest right now. There's not a whole lot to putting this thing together or setting it up. One of the main things is just taking the actual filament that comes with this, adding it to the cartridge, feeding the filament through, and then putting it right back into the back of the machine. So let's go ahead and summarize the setup process. Put the filament in place, run it through and secure it where it needs to be secured. Then go ahead and hook up the power and turn it on. That's it. That's pretty darn cool and very easy. But now comes the fun part. We're going to have to level out the build plate and make it ready to print. This does take a little bit more time than just putting the pieces together. Step one after turning everything on and pushing the right buttons is easy. All you're going to do is take all three of the knobs and turn them counterclockwise until they're kind of snug. It's pretty much to a tightened position, but this tightens everything back, and then it gets the plate ready to go through the leveling process to measure the distance between the extruder and the build plate to make sure that everything smooths out when you do start printing material. Once you press the on-screen menu to let it start doing the measurement process, it's going to back it out and let you know that it's time to start turning all the knobs clockwise until you heard that. At that point, it tells you under position number 1, you're ready to start moving with the individual leveling point assessments. The reality is this is actually very easy. You just follow the on-screen prompts, and all you have to do is notice where the extruder is over the leveling plate. Whatever the leveling knob is when it's right underneath the extruder, that's the one that the on-screen menu is telling you to adjust. It'll either tell you to turn clockwise or counterclockwise until you get each leveling point finally set. And it really is pretty easy. Takes a few minutes, but it's really a smooth process. For me, the last leveling point took the longest by far to get set. Took a bunch of finer adjustments, but it really wasn't that bad, and I did note that you want to make sure not to push or pull on the knob or nut while you're tightening it down, because that will misrepresent the distance on the leveling plate. So be very gentle about that, and it goes pretty smooth. And when you're done, you're ready to print. Another great thing about this printer is you actually can run it just as it is now. You don't have to hook it up to a computer. There's many different ways you can provide the information it needs in order to go ahead and begin printing. Internal memory on this printer has a couple of basic things you can test print with, but there's also a lot of things that you can find free online to have fun printing, and you don't have to create it yourself. Hey, thank you for taking the time to stop by Dialed In DIY today and indulge me as I unboxed my new 3D printer. The setup was easy, and I'm really looking forward to coming up with some creative projects where I can make some of my own parts. If you have any tips, tricks, or ideas when it comes to 3D printing, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And please remember to come on back in the future, because there will be plenty more Dialed In DIY to come.